Welcome to this episode of The Real on Real Estate, where the NW Home Experts team adorns your perspective with real facts, collaborates with local experts to find the real truths, and equips you with the real tools you need to flourish in today's real estate market.
All right, welcome back to The Real on Real Estate. This is episode 2. I am your host, Kelly, coming to you from the great state of Washington. And I am with the one and only Northwest Home Experts Real Estate team. This podcast is brought to you by us, real estate agents. On today's episode, I'm sitting down with our fearless leader, Joe Simonette.
Hello.
And our other fearless transaction coordinator. A little bit of fear.
And everything else.
Yeah, and everything else. Charlie Carr. Joe, Charlie, and we are going to be talking about the 2023 market, and also we'll have some crystal ball predictions for 2024.
God, I love those crystal balls.
Yes.
We all have a different crystal ball too, I think, right?
Some people are bigger than others.
What's the saying? A broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, and it's like a crystal ball.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in real
It's
estate.
right, twice every like 10 decades.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, Charlie, thank you guys for being here with me today.
Thanks for having me
I know
on.
you're both
Absolutely.
so busy.
We're excited. You know, it's not busy. It's we're getting close to Christmas,
Yeah.
guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not busy at all.
Oh, the
No,
market's
of course not.
just picking up right now.
Yeah.
So, for those of you out there watching, listening that don't know you, Joe, and you, Charlie, we'll start with Joe. Can you just give us an introduction as to who you are, how long you've been in the business?
Sure. Introduction. I've been in the business for 18 years now. I got into real estate when I
He's
was
finally legal.
about a baby. So I wasn't legal to sell real estate, but I was selling it anyways. People
hilarious.
always said that when I was younger because I got in the business so young. They're like, "Are you even old enough to like sell real estate?"
What is your cold calling like? It's like, goo goo gaga, hello.
Yeah. It was kind of like that in the beginning because I didn't know what to say.
Oh, yeah.
But been in the business for a long time. You know, I got in the market in like 2005, so that was kind of in the last big run up before the housing market crashed. So I never got to really experience that because I was so young, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I only got to experience the wonderfulness of the biggest crash that we probably had in housing. So that's kind of where
It's
I
a good way to
learned.
grow up.
Yeah.
You grow up fast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why I lost all my hair. No.
Yes, that's why you're bald.
But that's where I learned all my skills, short sales, negotiating a ton of those, then also doing REO, and then transitioning into investing, also learning, my scripts, and then learning how to prospect, cold calling, all those type of things. So we're pretty well-rounded. I'm pretty well-rounded in real estate now as far as the sales side, training you guys, and then also the investment side, which we love to do as well for our clients, and then also for all of us as well. So that's a little bit about me. I tell people I came from the school of the hard knocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's like I didn't have this paved out road. I kind of had to hit my head against the wall and then just like figure it out,
Yeah.
and then hit my head again. And
Yeah.
figure it out, So now I am here today with you guys. So I'm excited. To be here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you again for having us. Well, it sounds like what I'm hearing is you've been in the business since basically the Yellow Pages were around.
That is correct.
And I can imagine
True.
that you weathered some storms.
Yeah, me and Glenn Sanford were talking about that. We're
Yeah.
like, thank God we don't have to call in the Yellow Pages
Yeah.
Damn Yellow Pages.
anymore. But
Yeah.
that's like, that's kind of perspective, at least for me, is like for the agents that are getting in the business. Sure, the market's tough, but like technology's come a long ways.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Especially recently.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
2023, the year of Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I mean AI. But Charlie, can you tell us a little bit about you, where you're from?
Yeah, where am I from? I'm from Florida, and then I moved over here to Washington, and I've been doing real estate for about 5.5 years now. I have not counted the number of transactions that I've been a part of, but it has to be north of 1,000 at this point. Has to be north of 1,000.
Wow.
And it's not just it's not because I'm like some kind of high producing agent. It's because I help so many
come on,
agents.
Charlie.
Right? Okay. I'm not highly in production. I just
You heard it here.
highly in the assistant production, you might say. I am just I do a lot of the paperwork stuff. I'm on the back end. I know the technical of everything, and I answer a lot of people's questions. I put a lot of fires. I do kind of
Yeah.
Yeah, and Charlie's great, really, at helping our team and everybody else that's part of our network. With just the technical side, I mean, he knows that like the back of his hand, and he's a student, so he's one of the people that's always studying. Like he just went to the class, right? For all of the new things that are coming place in the new year with all of the agency changes. So
learning is not a burden for me. It's it's my hunger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up because our next episode 3, is actually going to be on all the agency changes.
Oh, well, Charlie is the perfect guy for that.
Yes, he is our office expert. So it sounds like between the two of you, tons of experience. Tons and tons of experience. Now, that being said, let's talk about how 2023 differed from, say, like 2018 to 2022.
Sure.
A lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Right? Can we talk about kind of like what your experiences were in that time frame versus this year, and then also what was kind of happening in the market to make it so different?
Just from talking to so many clients, right? Just to, being on the phones. If you're in real estate or if you're any type of sales, that's part of what you're going to do is just talk to a lot of people of whatever you're servicing or whatever product you sell. And really there's a lot of, this year there was a ton of what I would call FUD. Some of you guys might have heard that term before, fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the real estate market, because people, they didn't know, and unfortunately today a lot of people, they just read headlines. They don't really actually look into like the technical analysis of what's going on in the market. So a lot of people are like, man, interest rates, they shot up to 8%, which we just, thankfully today we're in the 6s, so we've kind of hit that inflection point, and now we're coming back down. But it scared a lot of people, and we were kind of in what we called a freeze, or just kind of a lockup period where you had buyers on the sideline, and you had sellers are like, hey, I got like a 3% rate, and I'm not selling my home at 8%. So you really had this standoff between those two, and it really equated into we are going to close 2023 out with the lowest closed sales volume since 2008. So it's definitely a year that is different from 2019, 20, 21, and 2022. It's because, we kind of hit this tipping point where nobody really knew where the market was, and then also you put that on top of the media creating headlines and fueling the FUD in the market, then it really just concerned a lot of buyers and sellers and just put everything on hold. And now, as we see, rates have dropped pretty quickly. We're starting to see activity in the holiday season, which is very, very weird.
Very weird,
yeah.
right? Like
the holiday
whole
season
thing where we understand seasonality, and it seems to be kind of contradicting that right now.
It is contradicting the seasonality of the market, because I can say when I was in Leavenworth with my family, and obviously from my side of the retail sales side, I'm mostly listing heavy, and I was getting offers on properties just from when those rates first started going down. So you're starting to see the market actually transition, and the problem is that for a buyer out there, like typically any market shift, you have the market where it's in one period and then it starts transitioning, and then it shifts again really fast. And so we're really in that transition window where buyers still have the leverage to go out there and negotiate a great deal, but as soon as possibly in January, we could see things ratchet up really quickly. And depending on where you are in the country, we're here in the Pacific Northwest, specifically Olympia, Washington, Thurston County, inventory here is not even at 2 months. And so in a balanced market, we're typically going to have around 5 or 6 months worth of inventory. We were kind of actually going over this data this week on one of our team huddles. I want to say even in this market with 8% rates here in Thurston County, not just Olympia, Thurston County,
Yep.
the median day on market was only 11.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think Pierce and King were similar too.
yeah, so we're just not in a market like a large market like a Texas, Dallas, Texas, Austin, Texas, where you can build 10 or 20,000 homes, to kind of satisfy demand. And so what's going to happen is we're going to get probably crazy. I would say sometime mid next year. It could even happen a little bit earlier. And so it's kind of like,
Wait, I don't want to go that far yet. We're gonna
Okay.
get there. We're
I'll
gonna
stop
get there.
right there.
Crystal
Charlie.
balls,
Charlie.
not yet. Crystal
Charlie.
balls, Charlie. What I have a
Go.
question for you.
Sure.
You have done over almost 1,000 transactions.
Yeah.
You're above 1,000 transactions at this
I've
point.
transcended.
Yeah, you are. You are the master.
into AI.
Yes.
Yeah. How has your workload changed this year?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It does feel like this year it has been fewer transactions overall. Still steady,
Yeah.
right? And so still,
Yeah.
it's not nothing, okay?
Right.
Not nothing, but has definitely felt not quite the same workload as I had, say, in 2019 or 2020, when at any given time I could have somewhere in the realm of like 30 to 40 concurrent transactions happening at once, and right now this year it's been more 20 to 30 rather than 30 to 40.
All Joe.
Mostly Joe. Like I would say half Joe and then half other people, right?
Yeah.
And so you definitely have seen less people, and it absolutely has to do with every single point that he came up with.
Yeah.
And the FUD is absolutely real right now. But like no one has any idea, and a lot of people have an opinion that they love to talk about. And so you get a lot of opinions, and not a lot of them are really all that accurate.
Right. Absolutely.
A lot of opinions without any experience. And so it's like,
Yeah.
it's for YouTubers or even from editors and people that actually aren't active in a market, because it's like any type of market, from real estate to stocks to bonds, whatever, there's a pulse of the market. And at least if you're not in that market every day, then you really don't have a pulse of what's going on. And so
Right.
But I mean, that's the thing with the internet, right? Today
Yeah.
everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
And so how do we educate the consumer so they're making that right decision, right?
Or listening to the right people.
Yeah,
So
listening
that-
to the
Because
right
it's so easy
Yeah.
to listen to the wrong people. It's so easy to get in front of the wrong voice.
Yeah,
Right.
or cousin Johnny or Uncle
Cousin
Bob, right?
Johnny. I mean, like,
Right.
if you sometimes some people really just don't leave like Facebook for anything. Like that's it. That's where they get all their information.
Yeah.
And it becomes an echo chamber.
Yeah.
Becomes
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just definitely does not
Yeah.
become anything conducive to knowing what's real.
So that is a great point. Joe, with all your experience, for the consumer, what would be the best resource that they can turn to get accurate information?
Sure. I mean, really, just whoever their local professional is. I mean,
Joe Simnet,
they have access to
Yeah.
Northwest Home Experts.
Yeah, we have access to, or in any market, they have access to all of the data. And if you're working with, a top team like ours, or any other top professional that really is doing this at a high level, like we have intricate data on the national, the local, also the region, and we're really able to really track that information month over month, and we're really able to just analyze it at a higher level than what most people know, and also kind of see where the market is actually heading.
Right. No, agreed. Yeah, you guys kind of surmise that people just kind of listen to whatever's on Facebook or the national news, when in reality, we can sit here and say Washington's not Georgia. So
Yeah, exactly.
if you're going to buy in Washington, you should be researching Washington markets.
Right.
100%.
And,
100%.
Talking to Washington professionals.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Professionals.
Yeah.
Very
Professionals.
Underscore.
Yeah, underscore. Not Facebook Marketplace. Okay. Professionals.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe, as we prepare to go into 2024, what are some key indicators agents and consumers should be keeping their eyes open for as far as real estate is concerned?
Yeah, those are great questions. So, number one is probably inventory, right? So, what's going on in inventory is going to have a lot to do with driving prices, right? Because we already know demand still, even with rates as high as they were, that there was still demand in the market, right?
Indeed.
So inventory, then the second one would be interest rates. Interest rates are going to play a major key into affordability.
Yeah.
And then other things like days on market, that's also going to be another indicator, right? Because if we go from a median 11 and then we drop to, let's say, 3 or 5, then there's just incredible demand in the market. So those are really like the top 3 things. And the great thing is there's tons of public websites out there, Zillow or Redfin, where you can get information like this off of, even if you're not like in the market, but you're just somebody that likes to track what's going on in your neighborhood or your town or whatever, where they have good reports, or even Case Shiller, but that's more of a national report where they track like the top 20 metros across the U.S.
Gotcha.
So yeah, those are probably the key indicators if somebody's interested or wants to jump in the market, but they're uncertain for their specific area. Those are kind of some resources they can go to, or they can call us.
Yeah, I was just going to say, or you can reach out to us,
Yeah.
nwhomeexperts.com.
Yep.
Charlie, what would you say economically, not necessarily the specifics of real estate, but economically, what shapes the real estate market?
Man, what shapes the real estate market economically? That's a good question. I think that for the real estate market, the biggest one is going to be the federal funds rate is going to be a big economic one. Just how much money people have extra on hand is going to be a pretty big deal, right? Because like prices of just everything, if they go up like they have been, and like how much are people currently saving right now as compared to when they were like in 2020 or 2021. Like in those times, like prices hadn't shot up yet.
Right.
And people were actually saving a lot.
Right.
And interest rates were super low. And then so people were able to write offers on places that were like $100,000 over asking with like a double down payment. Like double down payment. Like really grasp double. Right. That's a real thing.
Right.
Down payment doubled. Like that's what people had. Yeah. Just chilling because
the good old days.
The good old days. The wash of cash.
Yeah.
Yes. And now
everywhere.
And now it's just like, okay, well, I don't have double down payment when milk costs that much, or when gas costs that much, when everything costs that much, right? And as all that goes up, people have kind of less savings in their savings accounts, and with less savings, they have to like adjust sort of what offers they make, and then the interest rates go up, and they can afford less because the higher that interest rate is, the significantly more your monthly payment's going to be. And I don't know if people quite realize the impact that interest rates have on your monthly payment until you actually look at an amortization calculator, and the reality slaps you right in the face that you cannot afford what you thought that you could afford.
Yeah. So it kind of sounds like to me 2023 was a perfect storm to lead us. Well, actually not 2023, but maybe as far back as 2017 leading up to 2023 was really the perfect storm to get us into the situation that we're in now. As far as real estate, I'm not saying like, I'm not going to go any farther. I'm going to stick with our scope of practice into real estate, but I feel like that's kind of where we have gotten ourselves now. Of course, acutely things had to be done to make sure that the nation was healthy, but obviously there's always consequences for every action.
Yes.
But hopefully in 2024 we will start to see some major shifts. And here is actually, wait, before we get there, Joe, do you have anything to add on to what Charlie just said?
No, I mean, really, I want to say it was really when COVID started, because that's when that's really kind of what got us to the point we're at right now, because I want to say they printed, I think it was a third of the money supply that's ever been created in history.
Wow.
Yeah. In a you're talking a span of a couple of years.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, because of that, everybody was worried, and the Fed was like, "Oh no, inflation's transitory," and then all of a sudden, you started to see it show up really. That I want to say it was second quarter of 2022.
Yeah.
Started like whoa.
And then that's when like the oh shit moment happened, where where they reacted and they're like, oh, we got to raise rates and we got to raise them fast, right? And so that kind of got us to where we are now, where kind of hit the inflection point, and then inflation overall has been kind of on not a continuous downward trend because it's kind of been volatile where it's some months were good, but now it seems like we hit that inflection point and we're kind of on the backside of the hill.
Yeah.
And really you can see that just because of the way the markets are reacting and also long-term rates are reacting, that everybody feels kind of a little confident, a little bit better of, the whole economic picture. So, but like I would say is we're not out of the woods yet, right?
Definitely.
Can't take a victory lap right yet, and I personally am always just cautious, just because we've never we never know what's going to happen. I mean, that's just the reality, and I'm just more of a conservative person, and that approach is like I never am like, oh yeah, like this is going to be, know. So, and that kind of, if you think like that, and especially if you're in business, like you're just able to manage your expectations a lot better, and also for your clients, because you should never be too high.
Yeah.
You should never be too low. You should just kind of be in the middle. And I know for some people that's not a lot of fun, but if you're going to be a business person or entrepreneur for 10, 20, or 30 plus years, like you have to kind of have that mindset, because there are many highs and lows.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like we're kind of getting over our unicorn years hangover for 2023.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But yeah, no, so now it's crystal ball time, guys. We've gotten there. We've gotten there.
Yeah.
All right, Charlie, let's start with you.
Okay.
What are just some of your predictions for the real estate market?
For the real estate market in 2024.
Or for yourself. Heck, let's just do it. Whatever you want to say.
Oh, I mean, I wasn't really talking about myself.
No, we can go real estate.
But for sure, just in real estate, I think we are going to see interest rates are probably not going to move much. I think there's two schools of thoughts. I think that some people, and I think that this is really coming from like an emotional place, I think they really feel like interest rates are just going to really come down. But really, I think when you look at like federal funds rate, I don't think that's going to budge, because in the last couple of months, I'd say in the last 2 months, I think we have dropped from 8 to 6 in that kind of range, of about a 1.5% rate reduction, and the federal funds rate really just hasn't changed, right? Federal funds rates kind of stayed the same, and this is just really the par rate dropping, and that's pretty interesting stuff. It means that like when the federal when the FOMC, that the Federal Open Market Committee,
correct,
when they meet every 6 weeks, just because they don't make a decision to reduce interest rates doesn't mean that interest rates they don't actually improve for the consumer. And so I think that we're going to see that kind of drop a little bit in the beginning. I think that as we approach January, February, March, we're going to see still a little bit of drop there. We might even see federal funds rate go down once, but really I think we're only going to see potentially one federal funds rate reduction between now and the election in 2024. And I think that interest rates do tend to drop in an election year. And so I do think that we are going to be able to see interest rates fall somewhere between like 5 and 6% this year. But it's not going to be because of the Federal Open Market Committee.
Yeah, okay. And for those of you who have no idea what Charlie's actually talking about, we will be covering those terms. So
really? Okay.
Just stay tuned.
Okay, so how that affects the real estate market. I think that it's going to affect the market. I don't think it's going to have a non-effect, but I do think that we are still so close in time period from 2024 to 2020 that when that refi boom happened and everyone's on these low interest rates, I mean, that's not vanishing. That's still a pervasive problem in the economy. The fact that everyone who's got a house probably has a better interest rate than you, right? Like their interest rate's just better, or their payment is just so good that they can't sell anymore, right? And I don't think that's changing.
They can't sell.
Right, and it's like interest rates can improve, but that is still going to be a pervasive problem. Yeah, like people had really low interest rate. Like when you talk about 2.5 or 3% interest rate on a mortgage, like that's never happened before. Like that's so low that it's almost impossible for some of these sellers to sell. And I think that's what's going to keep us from having some sort of economic implosion. The fact that like there's this stone wall of sellers that can't sell even if the market improves. Right. And so I just think it's going to be a slow dial of improvement throughout 2024.
I was talking more about like the feds and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that
The
stuff
Fed.
gets really complicated.
Yeah.
Right. It
That
does.
gets like
Yeah, it does. There's
You're
a
talking
lot of
about-
there's a lot more technical things that,
Yeah.
Very technical.
that go into talking about that. And when we talk about the Fed funds rate and
right.
mortgage rates, which are kind of two different things.
You're right.
So
But they're closely intertwined, and we will
they
talk
are,
about that.
They
Just
are,
as
and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully
yeah.
consumers
lender
can be a
on here.
little bit more educated about what drives interest rates, because I know
Mhm.
that's been kind of a burning question on consumers' minds: is what the heck's going on? Why does this happen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Joe,
Yep.
you're up. 2024 predictions.
2024. Yeah, I think some people are a little bit more optimistic than I am. Like I think we're going to see improvement in 2024, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be massive improvement as far as we're talking mortgage rates. The Fed is doing right now what we would call a lot of job owning the market, and so what that means is they're talking, and the market reacts when the Fed talks, and so they're talking about possibly, if things look good, that they might be comfortable at easing their policy, and easing policy means reducing their federal funds rate. But again, they can move markets just by job owning the market. So that means that they can just say this and say, oh yeah, things are looking positive, and the market improves without them actually even having to do anything with their federal funds rate. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. But I would say probably mortgage rates probably are going to be probably still in the 6s and maybe the high 5s.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really don't see probably a big change in rates, like huge, but I think probably the biggest improvement we'll see probably comes in the fourth quarter going into 2025.
And we still believe, and I do believe this, I think that home prices are going up in 2024. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no. Home prices will go up
Mhm.
go up in 2024. I'm pretty confident about that, just because what a lot of people that aren't in the market and are dealing with clients like we are every single day is there's just so much pent-up demand out there now.
Mhm.
So you have buyers that have been waiting, you have sellers that have been waiting to do
Right.
things, and so you have all this pent-up demand that's on the sidelines where people are ready to do things, but they were just waiting for some type of improvement in the conditions so they could get the confidence to actually transact. And so I'm already seeing that now, and we're going to probably continue to see that. So I think we'll probably see a pretty strong build up to where we're probably really starting to see things get really active. Probably I would say next like April, May of next year in our local market, where you could probably see multiple offers again, and you can see people competing for the same homes, which we haven't seen obviously pretty much all of this year. But I mean, that's the thing. It's kind of like, buyers that are thinking of buying, like they just need to be prepared for that. If they do want to wait a little bit longer and just wait, let's see. But that's not going to be, in my mind, that's not going to be a big surprise. Home prices will go up. There's still going to be a lack of inventory, and you'll probably start to see the forecasting of appreciation on a national level also get revised, probably on an upward trend in a lot of markets, especially the coastal markets on the West Coast, just because a lot of our markets just lack a ton of inventory. So I think 2024 people will probably, just the general public will just probably feel more confident about the real estate market. And I mean, the Gallup poll of best investment options just came out it was 2 weeks ago, and real estate still, even in 2023, was voted the best long-term investment out of stocks, bonds, gold,
awesome.
all of those things. So I mean, it's just going to continue to be a bedrock of someone's financial wealth. But the biggest thing that if you're in our local market is to just get in the market, just because you'll be able to capitalize on appreciation long term. And unfortunately, our market here locally is going to probably go up at a faster appreciation rate than the national market will go. So it's good and bad. I kind of feel torn both ways about it, because I own a lot of real estate, but also for those first-time home buyers trying to get in, as our median home price continues to go up, it gets harder for those type of clients to actually, get situated and get their foot in the door of the housing market.
And I think that appreciation kind of runs in line with like the mortgage rates in such a way where it's like the buyers don't even feel the home prices getting cheaper. It just feels pretty static to them.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but I do think you still get a growth and confidence of the buyer pool. And then so because you get a growth and confidence of the buyer pool, despite the fact that affordability hasn't really changed, you still get more buyers. And with more buyers comes higher prices. And
Yeah, especially with the lower inventory.
Mhm.
And you kind of touched on it. Appreciation in Washington, I think, is
yeah.
definitely, we just don't have a lot of space. We have some
Hard
pretty
to build.
strict regulations.
Yeah.
Yes.
And people are moving here because we have amazing resources. This place is
Yeah.
beautiful. Why would you
It
not
is
live here?
Beautiful.
Yeah, Charlie does tons of hiking, and you guys can
Yes.
follow him
Yeah.
on his Facebook and see all of his
Yes.
hiking pictures, because he captures a lot of that beauty
Yeah.
when he's on his hikes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you guys. Well, thanks for joining me. And that's going to wrap up episode number 2.
You're
All right.
welcome.
Unless
Thank
you guys
you.
have anything else you want to share?
No, I think that's probably a good amount for what we just discussed. So no, I would say if anybody has any questions about what's going on in the market, reach out to Kelly, or reach out to me, or reach
Or
out
Charlie.
to Charlie, and we can give you any information, and
Yeah.
it's no hard selling us to just give you information if you just have a question. So
Yeah.
feel free to reach out.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for joining us. If you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure to hit subscribe. If you're listening on any sort of podcast platform, make sure to follow us. Like Joe said, you can find us and connect on nwhomeexperts.com. You can also begin your next home search there as well. All right. And that's it. We'll be back in 2 more weeks for more fun. This is
Looking
Kelly,
forward to it.
Charlie, Joe,
Joe,
Charlie.
Charlie, Joe, Charlie
Yeah.
with NW Home Experts.
Take care.
Take care. Thank you.